Hello, this is Andy's Golf and Travel Diary at the Hampton Inn in Cashiers, North Carolina. And I am here with the local historian, the local previous general manager, and now all-around good guy, Mark Jones.
Thank you, Andy. Very nice.
It's awesome to be here, Mark. Tell me about your first impressions when you first set foot on this property.
Well, I grew up here and never visited the property my whole life until I was out of college. It's well hidden by a beautiful hedge on the Highway 107. But once you go beyond that entrance, it was breathtaking. Who could ask for a better office to come to every morning? And once I get to work, I can eat.
I came to that entrance and I walked Rock Mountain last night. How many times have you walked that?
I could not count over the years. I've been here 28 years in Rock. We actually did redesign the trail, and that was one of the best jobs I had for 3 weeks. That's what we did every day. It was hike the mountain, work on designing the trail, coming back down both trails to Chimney Top as well as Rock Mountain.
Mark, do you have a couple minutes to answer a few more questions?
Sure do.
Mark, tell me a little bit about how you came to the Hampton Inn.
Well, I'm from Jackson County, which is the county Hampton is located in. Finished up at Western Carolina University, and I didn't really want to leave the mountains, so I took a part-time job for the summer up here at Hampton in '87, and 28 years later, I'm still here.
What attracts you to this resort?
It's our clientele. I was the general manager for 10 years in '97 to '06. Stepped down in '06 and was elected county commissioner. So I do the morning management role and continue the relationships that I've known for 28 years. We've seen children grow up here, meet here, and marry them here. And we have 5th generation guests, 3rd generation ownership. The head of our maintenance is 3rd generation. It's a family owned business, and our clientele is, we're a family. I can't wait for guests to come back year after year and see the children grow up, which we seriously call our job security.
Tell me a little bit about the resort, all the guests over the year. What are the top 3 things they come back for? Some of our guests feel that they own a piece of Hampton. It's so important to them, their family, their grandparents, their children, and even their grandchildren. And it's that feel of ownership that our guests have. Familiar faces. We have many staff. We have a head of maintenance that's 3rd generation, reservations team. Everybody almost has 20 years experience. I'm just kind of coming of age, being 28 years here on the property. That familiarity with guests, and everything stays the same at Hampton. There's not many changes. If there are, they're very subtle. They're done in landscaping. They might be done with a little bit with furniture, but the guests have the expectation of coming back to the same. It's like a piece of time, a steel time in history. Tell me a little bit about the history of Hampton Inn, the plaque and that walnut bark behind you. Well, take me back to the early days.
I'll help you. The bark that you see is actually North American chestnut bark. It was wiped out by a blight at the turn of the century, a blight brought over from Asia. The main lobby is all chestnut. A board foot goes for about $15 a board foot. Each board in this building is $100. All the joists are the floor joists are all chestnut, and a lot of it's wormy chestnut. And this bark is North American chestnut bark. It's naturally high in tannic acid, so termites don't like to eat through it. So the mountain folks put the bark on, not so much for the look as it is now in the modern homes, the exterior in the Cashiers Highlands area, but it's the high in tannic acid that helps the insect repellent.
Now, Wade Hampton is a Fazio golf course that I would love to play, but who is Wade Hampton?
Wade Hampton was the original owner of Hampton. His father brought him up here when he was a young man and stayed in a very primitive hunting cabin. When Wade Hampton III became of age, he built a fine summer home and acquired some property and turned it into a year-round farm. And after the next generation ownership was his niece, Caroline Hampton, married Dr. William Halstead, the first professor of surgery at Johns Hopkins in Baltimore, and this was their summer home. And when they passed away in 1922, the McKee family acquired the property, and by then turned from a 200-acre estate, a farm, to a 2,000-acre estate. And you have the Hampton now is a 1,400-acre estate owned by Mr. Will McKee,
And the Wade Hampton you referred to was the other part of the original property that was divided up so that one side of the family would have the Wade Hampton facility, and High Hampton would be owned by the McKee, strictly the William McKee family.
Tell me a little bit about the game of golf. When did you come to golf? Who put the first golf club in your hand?
Well, I started when I was a bellman. They kept telling us the golf was complimentary for staff. So in order to get a little bit more money, I figured I had to play golf at least twice a week, and I'd make an extra $100 a week on salary, kind of. But I started playing golf when I started working at High Hampton, enjoy the game, and I'll tell a brief story about the High Hampton golf course. A golf course architect by the name of J. Victor East from Australia was working on a couple of projects over in Asheville. Mr. E.L. McKee had business acquaintances over there, and met Mr. East, and the McKee family acquired the property in 1924, they wanted to build a golf course. So they set aside a budget, started the golf course. Mr. East was hired as the architect, and at one point on the 11th hole, Mr. East went to see Mr. E.L. McKee and said, "Mr. McKee, we need to finish the golf course, and I went through the budgeted money." And Mr. McKee said, "Well, I gave you all the money I wanted for the golf course." And Mr. East said, "Mr. McKee, you can't stop now. It'll be 11-hole golf course." And he goes, "There's not one in the entire United States." Mr. E.L. McKee said, "There is now." And High Hampton had an 11-hole golf course for 30 years. And in the early 50s, George Cobb redesigned the course as the 18-hole course it is today.
Well, I'm excited to play. It's got quite the heritage to it with those two names, Victor East and George Cobb.
Yes, sir. George Cobb said this is one of the most beautiful, naturally beautiful courses he ever designed. And he designed quite a few in the area.
Well, Mark Jones, historian, big part of the High Hampton Inn here. Thank you very much for your time, and thank you for being a part of Andy's Golf and Travel Diary.
Thank you, Andy. It's good to have you with us.